Tonight, Winnipeg's former mayor on the hot seat.
To me, the key thing in life is your reputation and your credibility.
How Sam Katz is defending his handling of the police headquarters construction fiasco. Also tonight, bylaw backlash.
On its face, it directly infringes freedom of expression and freedom of peaceful assembly.
A proposal to ban demonstrations near some city facilities is met with swift opposition. Plus, second opinion.
I was just kind of mad about the hospital making me wait 14 hours to tell me it's not broken.
The response from health officials after a doctor fails to recognize a woman's broken arm.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Hendricks. Marilee is away. Former Mayor Sam Katz testified at the police headquarters inquiry today. The sale and construction of the former Canada Post building was the subject of an RCMP investigation and a number of lawsuits. And Katz, who was mayor from 2004 to 2014, was questioned for hours about the project. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, what was Katz asked about?
About why the project jumped in price, a land sale he was involved in with the former city CAO and the contractor for the project, and if he felt he was in a conflict of interest. At the police HQ inquiry, former Mayor Sam Katz was grilled about a sale of land he says took place between himself, the city's former CAO Phil Schiegel, and the contractor who built the downtown police station.
The key thing in life is your reputation and your credibility.
Katz testified he was an investor in a parcel of land with Schiegel and others in Arizona. The inquiry heard a portion was sold to Armic Babakanians in 2011, whose company Caspian Construction was awarded the police HQ project. Katz told the inquiry he has no emails or existing tax records of the deal.
Is there a reason why you never emailed Mr. Schiegel to confirm your understanding of the arrangement?
I think verbally was fine. I had no issue with it.
Katz also said he did not disclose the sale to anyone at the city. He was asked if he now views this as a conflict of interest.
Do you now acknowledge, having looked at it, that there was a conflict of interest both by you and Mr. Schiegel at the time?
I think I acknowledged that in 2018 in a scrum, saying it would have been so much better and appropriate if I had made people aware of this.
The project ballooned in price from $135 million to $214 million. In decade-old court documents, RCMP alleged the city was defrauded of millions of dollars. The inquiry heard the Arizona land sale was worth $327,000. A civil court judge in 2022 concluded Schiegel accepted a bribe from Caspian for the same amount. Katz says he never made decisions to benefit Caspian based on the land deal, and he says he never took a bribe and is hurt by the accusation.
I'm offended and disappointed that, I take great offense to that.
To be clear, this is not a criminal or civil trial, but a way of finding information. Katz says he will speak with the media when the inquiry is over.
So, Jeff, did Katz offer any new information about what was being discussed behind the scenes when costs for the project were rising?
Yes, he did. He talked about it a lot. He says in 2013 he had a meeting with what he described as all the parties involved. He says he told them to stop finger pointing and find a solution. He then told the inquiry today no solution was found, and later council agreed to another budget increase after that meeting.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. CTV's Jeff Keel reporting. A 21-year-old man is fighting for his life in hospital after being shot yesterday morning. Police were called to a home in the 600 block of Agnes Street just before 7 a.m. Wednesday. They found the victim suffering from a life-threatening gunshot wound to his upper body. He was taken to hospital where he remains in critical condition. Police say the homicide unit is investigating because of how severe the man's injuries are. No arrests have been made, and anyone with information is asked to contact police. A Manitoba woman says she waited 14 hours in Selkirk's emergency department with a broken arm, only to be told by a doctor it wasn't actually broken. But when she got a second opinion at a Winnipeg clinic, she discovered her arm was not only broken, it had cracks in 2 places. CTV's Danton Unger reports.
19-year-old Caitlin Dunn found herself in the emergency department at the Selkirk Regional Health Center earlier this month.
I tripped and I fell on my bath mat half asleep, slamming my wrist right here on the shower.
That happened shortly before midnight, and with local clinics closed and her arms swelling, Dunn says she had no choice but to head to the ER, where she ended up waiting 14 hours.
It was just constant pain.
After getting an x-ray, Dunn says a doctor finally saw her.
He told me that my wrist is fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
She was told to go home and ice it, so that's what she did. But the pain didn't go away. In fact, it got worse.
I couldn't put pressure, I couldn't put the ice bag on it because it was too painful.
So the next day, she went to a medical clinic in Winnipeg, where she got a very different diagnosis. Her arm was broken in 2 places.
I was just kind of mad about the hospital making me wait 14 hours to tell me it's not broken. And then basically could have messed up my wrist severely.
The Interlake Eastern Regional Health Authority says while it can't comment on specifics of any individual's care, its patient relations team is aware of this matter and is following up on it directly, adding in part, in all cases, patients receive care from highly skilled healthcare professionals who make decisions based on the information available at the time, including clinical assessment and diagnostic imaging. But for Dunn, she says this whole experience has shaken her confidence in the healthcare system.
I don't think I would go back to the emergency room unless it's a severe emergency.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Selkirk.
Manitoba's chief public health officer says more than 30 cases of measles have been linked to egg days in Brandon last month. And Dr. Brent Rusin expects more cases are coming. In response, the province is expanding vaccine eligibility in the Prairie Mountain and Southern Health regions.
Really highlighting the need for everyone to take as much caution as possible, and those children under a year but over 6 months, we really want to encourage them to get that early dose of vaccine to protect them from that ongoing transmission.
Rusin says Manitoba continues to see high levels of measles transmission, primarily in southern parts of the province. Manitoba recorded 74 measles cases last month, the highest documented in the past year. However, Rusin says the province has no plans to mandate vaccination for the disease. Rusin also warns Manitoba is dealing with a large number of influenza cases this season.
This season has brought particularly high levels of respiratory illness activity, with admissions to emergency departments and urgent care increasing to roughly about 3,000 presentations. And this is even more than what we've seen in similar times during even the pandemic.
Dr. Rusin says having more hospital beds available and an additional 3,500 healthcare workers is helping to ease the strain on the system. But he still urges Manitobans to get influenza and COVID-19 vaccines and warns a second wave of the flu is expected to come in the spring. A motion at City Hall to crack down on what it calls nuisance demonstrations is facing backlash from some community groups and organizations. They say the proposed bylaw infringes on their charter rights to free expression. CTV's Daniel Halmerson joins us now live to explain. So Daniel, what does nuisance demonstration actually mean?
Well, John, according to the proposed bylaw, nuisance demonstrations include when people are harassed or intimidated by protesters, when people or vehicles are obstructed from getting places, when protesters use microphones and speakers, or when they make offensive or hurtful statements. The proposed safe access to vulnerable infrastructure bylaw would also ban protests within 100 meters of schools, hospitals, places of worship, and daycares, and people who violate the bylaw could be fined. A city report says the proposed measures aim to protect public safety while respecting people's rights to gather and express themselves peacefully. However, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association says the plan is too broad in its scope and puts an unreasonable limit on freedoms of expression.
On its face, it directly infringes freedom of expression and freedom of peaceful assembly, two rights that are protected by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And we want to be clear, obviously there's no room in our society for violence, threats of violence, and incitement to violence. And whenever required, the police can and should consider intervening to protect public safety. But the police already have the powers they need to do that. They do not need a new bylaw in order to be able to protect public safety.
Earlier this week, Mayor Scott Gillingham said the city's legal team has reviewed the proposal and it found that the bylaw doesn't infringe on the right to protest. And the city report notes similar bubble zone bylaws already exist in other Canadian municipalities. But the CCLA says some of those are already being challenged before the courts.
What's the next step then for this bylaw, Daniel?
Well, the Mayor's Executive Policy Committee will vote on the motion at a meeting on Tuesday, and the rest of City Council will weigh in at their next meeting on February 26th.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Get ready for a winter celebration. Festival de Voyageur is almost here. Today marked the opening ribbon-cutting ceremony for Western Canada's largest winter festival. And this year's edition will feature the return of a beloved landmark. Maison du Chaboyer, a rustic log cabin, will be making a return after being closed since 2023. And they'll be hosting some workshops there. The festival will also feature lots of live music, snow tubing, maple taffy, and of course, snow sculptures.
We've got all of the classics, and we have a beautiful year full of snow as well, so there's sculptures all over the park. And we also have Fort Gibraltar is open. You can go discover life in 1815. Our playground actually looks really, really great this year as well. We've got lots of fun stuff for kids and a brand new activity that's all about Manitoba freshwater fish.
Festival de Voyageur kicks off Friday, February 13th and runs all the way through to the 22nd. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady joins us now with a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And Colleen, a very, very foggy day today.
Well, yes, certainly this morning. Then it eased up, and boy, we're socked back in it now here in Winnipeg. It came back within the last hour, and not just here in Winnipeg. Environment Canada issued a fog advisory about an hour ago for the Red River Valley, pushing a little further west into parts of the Pembina Valley, up into the southern Interlake. Now, there have been reports, according to Environment Canada, that there have been areas throughout the Red River Valley that have been experiencing near zero visibility. Expect this to be lasting throughout the night and well into Friday morning, so this could affect your commute. I'll have more details on that coming up, and our mild long weekend ahead. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Right now in Winnipeg, in that fog, it is -3 out there. With the wind chill, it feels like -8 thanks to those winds out of the south-southwest at 17 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping, and John, that humidity is 100%.
Doesn't get much higher than that. Demonstrators took to the streets of Winnipeg Courthouse today as a rare legal challenge got underway. National advocacy group Animal Justice is pursuing a charge against a Swan River area horse farm. The move is unusual in that the group is using a mechanism called private prosecution, in which a judge permits a private citizen to lay a charge for an alleged offense. At issue is a shipment of horses to Japan in 2022. Animal Justice accuses the farm of not having a contingency plan in place for the horses in case of a delay, which it says there was, which caused unnecessary suffering for the animals. An airport in southwestern corner of Manitoba is getting an upgrade. The Deloraine-Winchester Airport is located just over an hour southwest of Brandon. The province announced today that it's spending nearly $1.5 million to improve safety, increase access for Stars Air Ambulance, and support for Canada Border Services aerial surveillance. The airport will be reclassified from rural to regional and will see its runway repaved and upgrades made to its lighting systems. Work is expected to be complete this fall. Kildonan Place is getting a big makeover. The mall announced a $30 million redevelopment plan. The project includes a redesigned mall entrance, a new zero food waste food court, removing the former theater space, and bringing in new retailers. The updates will reduce the mall's gross leasable space by around 30,000 square feet. The relocated guest services area is scheduled to open in April, and the new food court is scheduled for early 2027. The city of Steinbach is putting the finishing touches on its community safety and well-being plan. Mayor Earl Funk says the city's preliminary strategy is undergoing some reviews and will be released sometime in the spring. It's a guiding document which will outline the city's priorities in areas such as transportation, housing, healthcare, safety, and social services. Funk says many of the strategies put forward in the plan are already underway.
Some of the action points will be very targeted, but some of them will be, like more of overreaching, like what we need to do. This is where people are falling through the cracks. This is where we need to fix, right? And so I think that is going to be that's where the document will be very valuable.
Mayor Funk says there are no direct financial implications for the plan. However, he says the province has put forward $60,000 to get the ball rolling as soon as it's introduced. The plan was created in conjunction with several local groups, such as the local RCMP, school division, and health authority, and informed by surveys from residents. A United Way initiative will continue for at least 3 more years after the province renewed and added to its funding agreement.
$500,000 in new funding from the Department of Families will be added to the For Every Family initiative.
That brings the provincial government's commitment up to $2 million annually for the next 3 years. The United Way is also kicking in another $2 million each year. The program helps with preventative and family-centered supports at 25 family resource centers, including Norwest Co-op, Community Health, Fort Garry Women's Resource Center, and Acorn Family Place.
It is a recognition of the essential role that family resource centers plays in strengthening communities, reducing barriers, and ensuring that every family, regardless of circumstance, has access to support, care, and opportunities to thrive.
The money will also support 11 child and family service liaison positions. Since 2021, those positions have helped 480 families at risk of apprehension keep their children in their homes, and 100 families see their children returned from care. Well, still to come, heartbreak in Tumbler Ridge, BC.
There's no protection there for them. They thought they were in a safe place, and I thought they were in a safe place.
Support pouring in for the families and the victims of those who survived. We'll have the latest when we return. Taking a look at the markets, in crude oil lost $1.79. The loonie slipped to 73.5 cents U.S. Gold futures plunged $150. The TSX dropped 788 points. The Dow Jones fell 669 points, and the Nasdaq lost 469 points. The Manitoba Métis Federation is one step closer to a historic first. The federal government has tabled Bill C-21. If passed, it would bring into effect the first self-government treaty signed with the Métis government in Canada and formally recognize the MMF's right to govern itself. It would formally allow the MMF to make laws about internal matters such as how leaders are selected, who its citizens are, and how its government operates. The legislation builds upon and would replace an agreement signed in 2021, which recognized the MMF as an Indigenous government. We're learning more about the 8 victims of the Tumbler Ridge High School massacre. The youngest was just 11 years old. Community members in Tumbler Ridge are agonizing over what could have been done to save them and say that they are all grateful for the love coming from their fellow Canadians. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
Fresh tears near Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, where there is a steady stream of mourners determined to pay their respects, including BC Premier David Eby, who arrived in town last night, and Rick Patterson, who's lived here since 1983 and is one of the many trying to navigate their grief.
I think it's just a day-by-day and moment-by-moment thing.
For Patterson, the hardest part is feeling like the community failed its most vulnerable.
There's no protection there for them. They thought they were in a safe place, and I thought they were in a safe place.
Once a safe place, Tumbler Ridge Secondary is now the scene of a murder investigation. Police say the suspect, 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, murdered one teacher, 39-year-old Shanda Evaguana Durand, and 5 students there, and injured 27 others before turning the gun on herself. Among the victims, 13-year-old Ezekiel Schofield, 12-year-old Abul Mawansa, whose family online called him a brave kid with a bright future. 12-year-old Zoe Benoit is being remembered as a resilient, vibrant, and caring little girl. Also among those killed, 12-year-old Tigara Lampert, who friends say was a loving, courageous, and humorous girl who leaves behind 7 siblings. Their classmate, 12-year-old Kylie Smith, who was the light of her family's life, was also killed at the school.
I let her off. I let her go to school with her brother Ethan in the morning, and I soaked in that moment watching them walk in the door together for whatever reason, and I didn't know it would be the last time they'd go to school together.
Police say before going to the school, Van Rootselaar killed her 39-year-old mother, Jennifer Jacobs, and 11-year-old stepbrother, Emmett Jacobs, at their family home. Community members say the love from Canadians across the country is helping them feel less alone during these dark days.
I love this place, I love this town, and now I love Canada even more because of what you have given to us.
She is not the only person we've heard that from. In the town, people tell us has long been known as The Rock. A great description today for the strength of this community. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Tumbler Ridge, BC.
27 people were injured in the shooting. Now, most of them are now out of hospital, but the pain of what they went through is far from over. Here's CTV's Kathy Lee with the latest.
A student and a teacher I spoke to say they're still trying to process all of this, grieving as they try to come to terms with this tragic event and reflecting on what they saw and heard as an active shooter went through their school.
The memorial for the victims grows near the school where 6 lives were taken. And from the chaos of that harrowing day, survivors share the moments that will haunt them, including Jarvis Naronia, who was teaching a mechanics class when a student told him he heard shots ring out.
You know, there was a real situation, and my goal at the time was, I have these 15 kids to get out of here. I want these 15 kids to be safe.
In another classroom, 13-year-old Dennis Meehan also heard gunfire.
I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was like someone dropping something. And then I heard like it again, and then I knew it was like a gunshot.
Dennis says his teacher immediately got all the students behind her desk and barricaded the door. That type of protective mode kicked in for Naronia as well. The impact of what happened hitting him hard, especially since he was teaching the victims in class just an hour before the incident.
That's the hardest part to see. That's the little kids are gone.
As the community comes together to support one another, I asked Naronia, what is it that you guys need? And he said time. Time will help them heal. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Tumbler Ridge, BC.
Canadians are now being urged to avoid all non-essential travel to Cuba. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says the government is working with airlines to help Canadians return home. Air Canada, Air Transat, and WestJet have all suspended commercial flights to the island because of a shortage of aviation fuel. The latest warning from Ottawa is being issued amid growing concerns about shortages of electricity, fuel, and basic supplies. Global Affairs consular officials are providing support to Canadians on the island. The U.S. House of Representatives has dealt a blow to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade agenda. 6 House Republicans joined Democrats late Wednesday, backing a resolution to end Trump's so-called fentanyl tariffs on Canada. Now, the vote won't overturn the tariffs, but as CTV's Rachel Aiello has been digging into today, there is still a silver lining here in Canada.
The joint resolution is passed.
By a vote of 219 to 211, the U.S. House passed a resolution to repeal President Donald Trump's so-called fentanyl tariffs levied last year, citing border security. These 6 House Republicans breaking ranks to join the Democrats in backing the move.
This is the right vote for my district. These tariffs are hurting them.
And while largely symbolic, it's a sign some Republican support for Trump's use of emergency powers is slipping.
I'm disappointed in the vote, but the president has veto power.
Defending his trade agenda, Trump said any Republican in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences.
Well, I've got to represent my district, and Canada and the state of Washington are have very close trading relationship. It's valuable.
The resolution now goes to the Senate, but without the 2/3 majority needed to override Trump's expected veto, the tariff policy won't change.
It positions us a little bit better, incrementally better for the upcoming review.
Though this trade expert says it's still good news for Canada.
I think it actually gives Canada a little bit of additional negotiating power, right? But it just highlights to the president and to the U.S. administration that Canada has allies.
The U.S. Supreme Court is separately weighing whether Trump can continue using emergency tariff powers. But for now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford is celebrating this vote as an important victory. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
After 2 months, the Trump administration is ending the immigration crackdown in Minnesota.
I'm not going to remove everybody out of the safety of our officers, but like I said, and Operation Metro Surge is ending. And in the next week, we're going to deploy the officers here in detail back to their home stations or other areas of the country that are needed.
Some U.S. personnel will remain until investigations and other work is done. The U.S. Border Czar insists the enforcement operation was a success, but 2 American citizens were fatally shot by federal officers, and there were protests and thousands of arrests. A massive sinkhole opened up in Shanghai. It's damaged nearby structures and nearly swallowed some pedestrians. The huge hole can be seen opening as people scatter. Local authorities had closed the area the day before after a water leak was discovered by construction workers.
This one I worked really hard for, and it was a tough one to get.
Still ahead, back on the podium, Team Canada keeps giving the country plenty to cheer for. We'll have the latest when we return.
A cloudy day on Saturday for Winnipeg and a mild one up to -2. Still cloudy on Sunday with a high of +2. Louis Riel Day on Monday, a mix of sun and cloud, 0, and then a little cooler, but still above normal for this time of year as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, -4. Now there's the possibility we could see snow move in by Tuesday night, continuing on Wednesday with a high of -6.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are loading up for the 2026 CFL season in hopes of returning to Grey Cup glory.
Let's be aggressive. Let's get back to making a splash. And it's been a few years. So, we've been quite status quo, to be honest. So it certainly was a concerted effort, organizational effort to be aggressive. Let's target the guys we want and let's get them.
The Bombers have officially signed a handful of top-tier free agents, and GM Kyle Walters says they complement the team's already deep core. O-lineman Jarrell Broxton was brought in to help provide Zach Collaros some more protection, and while Jake Serezna should be a dominant presence on the D-line. Now, other new faces include defensive back Jonathan Moxey and wide receiver Tommy Neld. The Bomber regular season and quest for the Cup kicks off exactly 4 months from today. A lot for us to cheer today at the Olympics. Team Canada has seen a surge in its medal count, and both hockey teams showed their dominance on the ice. CTV's Scott Hurst reports.
A big day in short track speed skating. Courtney Sereau won bronze in the women's 500-meter. This is her second medal of the Games. Sereau was part of the team that won silver in the mixed relay earlier in the week. 4 Olympic Games, 4 medals for a Canadian athlete known as the King.
Very happy to win my 4th medal and 4 starts at the Olympic Games.
Opening ceremony flag bearer Mikhail Kingsbury landed back on the podium in Milano Cortina, a silver medal for the decorated Olympian. He finished with an identical score as the gold medalist, but lost the top spot through a tiebreaker.
This one I worked really hard for, and it was a tough one to get.
We will see Kingsbury again in the dual moguls event this weekend. Canada is celebrating another silver on the slopes, this time in snowboard cross. 24-year-old Elliot Grandin from Quebec also missing out on gold by the slimmest of margins.
Pretty good. I mean, it's another silver medal, so you can't really be too upset.
This is his third Olympic medal and will have a chance to add to his personal total in the mixed snowboard cross team event on Sunday. On to the quarterfinals for the Canadian women's hockey team. The women beat Finland today 5-0 to close out their preliminary round with a record of 3-1. On the men's side, it was a relatively easy start to their Olympic program. The Canadian men won their opening match against Czechia 5-0. This is the first time we're seeing NHL players at the Olympic Games since Sochi 2014. The women's hockey team will begin the knockout round on Saturday. They'll face Germany in the quarterfinals. The men will be back on the ice tomorrow against Switzerland. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady has your complete Skywatch weather forecast. And Colleen, there is a little bit of fog out there.
Yeah, by a little you mean a lot. It came in pretty quickly here in the Winnipeg area in the 5 o'clock hour and throughout the Red River Valley, so much so that Environment Canada once again issued that yellow advisory for fog for the Red River Valley, a little further out to the west into parts of the Pembina Valley. South central Manitoba up into the southern Interlake there. Near zero visibility already reported at times, according to Environment Canada, in the Red River Valley as we head into the night ahead. So the weather agency also cautions that at times it might appear as though the fog has lifted in your area, but it may be short-lived. The expectation is this fog is going to be with us all throughout the night, the overnight, and well into Friday morning. So anticipate at least the possibility of encountering this fog for your commute tomorrow, which of course will significantly reduce visibility at times. Further east, fog will reach northwestern Ontario later tonight. Clouds have now finally reached Dryden after it was pretty clear there for most of the day. Meanwhile, we have some light snow that continues up into northeastern Manitoba. It looks as though in the Thompson area it has come to an end, but Thompson is another area where fog is likely to develop. This fog is going to go well up into parts of the north, not so much in the northeast, but the northwest. As far north as Lynn Lake can expect fog tonight. Meanwhile, that snow is going to move off later tonight out of the northeast and into northern Ontario there. Meanwhile, were it not for the fog, actually the sky conditions would become clearer in many areas, or at least partly cloudy at most. But as we get into a Friday morning, again, watch out for that fog. Otherwise, as for the sky conditions, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud or sunshine throughout the day here in the south. Another round of snow makes its way across the north, not insignificant in terms of accumulations, but another round of snow crossing the same stretch that it did today. Then we go overnight and into Saturday, we'll still be seeing these mild conditions continuing. And then a little later on into the day there, you can see not a lot happening. -9 is our low tonight. Now, for some perspective, -9 is our normal daytime high for this time of year. Partly cloudy, fog already out there, fog expected. Quite more than possible, I think, at this point, quite likely for tomorrow morning. -9 for the commute, up to 0 in the afternoon under a mix of sun and cloud. And even later on in the day, it might be outright sunny. Light snow ending later tonight for Gillam and Churchill. A few flurries for Island Lake. Fog overnight for Thompson down to -9 there. So mild in the north. Thompson -2 tomorrow. Fog all across the northwest tonight. Very mild overnight lows and daytime highs too, getting up to 0 in some areas. In the southwest tonight, watch out for fog there. Brandon had hours and hours of fog earlier today. -12 your overnight low there. -8 in Dauphin. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud with highs exceeding the freezing mark tomorrow. Fog around the Red River Valley and all throughout the southeast overnight tonight. Overnight lows -8, -9. A little colder to the east of the city. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow with very mild highs. Fog late tonight in northwestern Ontario. It will continue into tomorrow with highs of 2 and 3 degrees. Our first weather photo is from Krista. This is a great shot. She took it from, not Krista, to be precise. She took this looking at the Manitoba Legislative Building this morning, of course, enveloped in that fog. A beautiful photo. And this next one is still here in Winnipeg. Walking along the Hart Trail, Brenda was. That's Bo in the shot. That is in Charles with beautiful shot. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. To a developing story now, and any large event in Manitoba taking place in the coming months should be considered a potential measles exposure site. That's the message tonight from provincial health officials. The province has just issued a statement saying it's trying to track dozens of cases related to Egg Days in Brandon last month. It's also updated its list of known exposure locations, and it includes the 300-level seating and concourse of Canada Life Centre on the evening of February 4th during the Winnipeg Jets-Montreal Canadiens game. Additionally, it says community transmission is being reported in the Prairie Mountain Health Region. As a result, it's expanding the criteria for early dose of the MMR vaccine to include infants aged 6 to under 12 months who reside or regularly travel to the region.
How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
The Jeffrey Epstein scandal is rocking the upper echelons of power in Europe. We'll have more on the fallout across the pond when we return. The fallout from the Epstein files is striking at the heart of Britain's elite. The royal family and the Prime Minister are facing growing pressure from the scandal. Ian Pennell with the latest.
This morning, Thames Valley Police say they're talking to prosecutors about allegations related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein as the scandal shakes Britain's government. From Parliament to the Palace. Anger over the former Prince Andrew's association with a convicted sex offender. Now, former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown leading the charge, pushing for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to speak with the police, saying British authorities had little or no idea who was being trafficked through our country and for whom, other than Epstein. These pictures of the former prince released by the United States Department of Justice, showing him crouching over a young woman, her face redacted. The date and context of the photos are unclear, and Andrew has denied any wrongdoing, but the scandals raised calls for further investigations. Thames Valley Police say they've engaged in discussions with specialist Crown prosecutors from the CPS to determine whether a criminal offence is suspected and whether a full investigation is required. This as the current Prime Minister Keir Starmer is under fire over his 2024 appointment of Peter Mandelson as the UK's ambassador to the US, despite Mandelson's known ties to Epstein. Mandelson hasn't been charged with any crime. Starmer saying he's sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. Starmer's chief of staff resigning over the scandal, saying he takes full responsibility for Mandelson's appointment. This as reports emerge that one of Starmer's former aides openly campaigned for a friend who later pled guilty to possessing indecent images of children.
Isn't the Prime Minister ashamed that that will be his legacy?
But with calls for him to step aside, Starmer insists he's not going anywhere.
Mr. Speaker, my legacy is changing my party and winning a general election.
So for now, at least, it looks as though the Prime Minister survives this scandal. But the royal family now facing a crisis perhaps greater than at any time since the death of Diana, as we wait to see if there'll be any criminal prosecutions. Ian Pannell, ABC News, London.
Health officials in Ontario are warning people about the spread of measles in Manitoba. A notice from the Northwestern Health Unit specifically cites Manitoba Egg Days in Brandon last month as a likely large-scale transmission event. It says that event and associated venues like hotels and shops could possibly lead to an increase in measles cases in Ontario. It concludes by saying the risk of measles exposure, particularly in Manitoba's southern health region, is likely to continue for the foreseeable future and encourages people to get immunized. Returning now to one of our top stories, the mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. It has spurred conversations surrounding mental health and violent behavior. Advocates for mental health will say the illness can't be conflated with violence, but they all agree a strong support system is needed. CTV's Adrian Gabriel looks into whether what exists is working and what needs to change.
The flicker of a flame sheds light on the darkest of weeks. A Canadian community has been left to hold each other up, while some begin to question if this senseless tragedy could have been prevented.
Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect.
As recently as a year ago, police visited the home of suspected shooter Jesse Van Rootselaar.
On different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
It's certainly not ideal for police to be providing mental health support or mental health care, and really that responsibility isn't fair to them either.
Located at the foothills of the Rockies in northeastern British Columbia, Tumbler Ridge is home to roughly 2,400 people. The town has its own medical center with limited in-person mental health support. In January, BC announced it was expanding its Foundry centers that offer support to those between the ages of 12 and 24, though the closest Foundry center to Tumbler Ridge is in Prince George, roughly 4 hours away.
We know that virtual supports can be provided, but they're not adequate. We really need mental health and well-being supports to be situated in the community.
The Tumbler Ridge suspect identified as a female. One behavioral neuroscience professor believes there's a glaring support gap in remote regions for members of the LGBTQ+ community.
They often face discrimination, harassment, stigma, and really that threatens mental health and well-being.
BC's premier has vowed to do whatever is necessary to ensure an event like this never takes place again. Psychologists we spoke with say a good first step is ensuring that some of the mental health support now in Tumbler Ridge remains there for the long term. Adrian Gober, CTV News, Toronto.
If you or someone you know is in need of mental health support, you can access a national helpline anytime by dialing 988 or visiting 988.ca.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
She's breaking back into the music scene, and now she's heading out on tour when Hilary Duff is planning a stop in our city, coming up next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting The Price is Right live.
A former teen pop star and actress is heading back out on tour and will make a stop here in Winnipeg next winter. Hilary Duff is bringing her The Lucky Me Tour to Canada Life Centre on January 30th, 2027. The 7-country tour follows a series of small venue shows and a sold-out Las Vegas engagement that starts tomorrow. Duff launched her music career back in 2002 while starring as Lizzie McGuire, but in recent years has concentrated on acting. Tickets go on sale February 20th at 10 a.m. through Ticketmaster. Canadian music icon Sarah McLachlan will be taking the stage at this weekend's NBA All-Star Game. She will be there to perform "Oh Canada" before Sunday's marquee game. American R&B singer Brandy will sing the U.S. national anthem. Other performers set to hit the stage are Ludacris and John Tesh, who will perform "Roundball Rock," which was the soundtrack to NBC's coverage of the NBA from 1990 through 2002. The acclaimed director of some of the biggest blockbuster movies of the past 4 decades is being honored with Canada's top prize in the arts. Titanic and Avatar filmmaker James Cameron has been named one of 5 people to win the Governor-General's Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement this year. Other winners include singer-songwriter Danielle Lavoie and actor-producer Tanya Williams. The award ceremony is scheduled for June. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with Next Level Chef. Back-to-back at 8 and 9, catch Sullivan's Crossing. And The Big Bang Theory wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Land ho! Atlantic Canada marks the anniversary of an unusual incident on the shores of New Brunswick.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
It is foggy out there, -3 degrees, winds from the south-southwest at 17 kilometers an hour, makes it feel more like -8. Obviously, watch out there if you have any driving. Reduced visibility expected this evening, tonight, overnight, and through the commute tomorrow morning. Along the way, we drop down to -9 degrees. That's a normal high for this time of year, just to paint the picture of how mild it is out there. That's a big reason why we're getting this fog. -1 Friday afternoon under a mix of sun and cloud. Cloudy Saturday, a -1, 2, and cloudy Sunday. Louis Riel Day on Monday, John, 0 under a mix of sun and cloud.
Thanks, Colleen. Today marks 45 years since a remarkable maritime oddity our East Coast friends may be familiar with. It was February 12, 1981, when the cargo tanker, the Opal, ended up on a beach near St. John, New Brunswick. A combination of mechanical failure, high winds, and a broken tow line led the 6,000-ton vessel to make its unexpected visit. And the Liberian freighter became quite a sensation. People flocked to the site to marvel and photograph the Opal. It stayed on the beach for several weeks before finally being refloated. Pretty amazing.
What a big vessel. Look at that.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know. There you go. I don't know what more to say. Thank God they got rid of it.
That's a hot take.
There you go.
There it is, folks.
You can come back and see all of these news stories, including that one, anytime. CTV News Winnipeg.ca. I've got a million hot takes.
I know you do.